Okay, so moving on. Our next story is basically one that's another underperforming film of 2022, and so Black Adam just came out and just it's now on HBO Max, and there was a lot of to do about it. And according to Variety, once again, James Gunn sat down with The Rock and basically said that Black Adam 2 isn't happening. And he said, and it was a tweet that he put out. He said, James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in the first chapter of Storytelling Johnson over the statement Tuesday. However, DC and $7, that's his production company, have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters. That was just a snippet of the statement that he put out. Number one, do you think this is good that they are no longer moving forward with a sequel for Black Adam? And number two, do you think The Rock could ever appear in another DC film?
So for your first point, I think it is good they're not making a sequel to Black Adam, because I don't believe Black Adam should really carry his own movie. I think Black Adam's a much better antagonist character than he is, as they put him in the movie, as this anti-hero leading this solo movie. That I think one of the reasons why the film struggles, because I think the film is okay. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's really that good either. I think it struggles in the fact that you kind of don't really... The antagonists in the film are quite weak. I mean, the main one, that is. And you kind of are in that situation. The same thing that happened to Venom, which was not a good movie, where you take away the antagonist of a character. In Venom's case, it's Spider-Man. And now you have a villain that you're trying to come up with a antagonist for that villain to face off against. And it just doesn't really work out. And it's a real sad thing to hear, because The Rock had been working on this movie for so long. He wanted to get it out, and he finally did. He finally got out a Black Adam movie. But it didn't do as well as the studio wanted it to do. It did not do as well as I think they wanted the audience to see it as. And I think this, I'm saddened by, the fact that Henry Cavill won't be Superman. But this is one of those things where I'm like, I can understand why they did it. But then, to your other point, will we see him again? I think we could, and this is why I think that this is a good thing. I think that we'll see him maybe in more of a supporting role, because I think we could see a multiversal story where he does have to fight maybe the Superman of this universe that they're going to build. And that could be really interesting to see. Plus, it also gives The Rock kind of more free reign to explore other projects for now, and then he can always come back to Black Adam in the next maybe 5 years or so. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. They could do it like Deadpool, where the first appearance of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was X-Men Origins Wolverine in 2009, and we didn't get another appearance of him until 7 years later with Deadpool. So that could be a similar situation. But yeah, it is what it is, and the DC hierarchy of power did change, but it didn't change the way that The Rock thought it would.
Do you think that him bringing back Cavill in October and saying having him do the deleted scene and everything else, do you think that created more chaos? And or do you think if he had just left well enough alone? Because look, there was a time where The Rock said, "Look, I want a solo film. I don't want Shazam in any part of this whatsoever." Do you think if he had just left well enough alone, not brought Cavill in the extra scene, not wanting him to come back? Because let's face it, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole completely, but that was a big thing. And him coming back, and everybody got excited, and then James Gunn comes in, they give him the axe and everything else. Do you think if he had just left well enough alone and said, you know what, let him do his own thing, that it would have done better?
I don't know, because you know the one thing, David, I think the fact that he brought Cavill kind of made more people like Black Adam. If that movie did not have Henry Cavill as Superman at the end, and apparently, like one of the rumors that went around was that it would have been the terrible DC thing they've been doing lately, where they bring in a Superman character, but it's not the face; it's just like the body, and his face is not shown. I think that would have really angered it would have angered me as an audience member. It would have angered a lot of people. And it's interesting because it's almost like The Rock knew that would have happened, and he made sure to bring Henry so he could kind of make himself look good. And that way, maybe if this didn't go plan, like he knows that the audience would want to see another Black Adam just because of that. And that's a real shame, because what that ended up doing was it promised the audience something that they're never going to get. And I think, unfortunately, The Rock kind of feels a little, embarrassed and humiliated by that, because, like, he rarely, fails to give the audience what they want. And the fact that they ended up making this movie and, now we're not going to see him fight off against Henry Cavill, it's caused a huge amount of commotion online. And, I do want to point out, like, I think one of the biggest tragedies of this whole thing is that you had a lot of young newcomers coming in to play the JSA, whether it was Aldous Hodge as Hawkman or Quinta Benson as Cyclone, even Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher. And it's really sad to see that those characters, it probably, like, by shutting the door on Black Adam for now, it probably shuts the door on those characters too, because personally I was a huge fan of Hawkman in this movie, and I want to see another Hawkman movie. And now it does not look like we'll get that. So I think it's even more of a disservice to those characters, because I really want to see more of them. And I don't know, like, it's just, as we've been discussing, like, it's the changing regime of DC that we'll have to see how it goes from now on.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Gunn we trust, right? I mean, I kid, but I think that and I've said this before, I think that both James Gunn and Peter Safran have a plan. They just have to do some serious house cleaning first. And once the house cleaning is done, and by the way, he even has said, James Gunn himself, he's going to come out with a huge slate in January. So we're only about 2 weeks away, probably, maybe 3 weeks away, from James Gunn and Peter Safran basically telling everybody this is what we have on tap. And the last thing I'll say is this. He has been the most transparent person studio executive I have ever seen. Mm-hmm. He has shut down rumors. He's debunked rumors. He has been transparent with fans. He has basically said, look, this is what we're going to do. So it's here on up, onwards and upwards for DC, because I really believe they're going to finally get things straight. What do you guys think? Where do you think DC is going to be able to go in the future? Are you excited in a couple of weeks for the new slate to come out by Gunn and Safran? What kind of projects are you looking forward to see? Leave us your thoughts down in the comments.